Joining us tonight for more insight into the Edo Assembly crisis is Mr. G.T. Ogunye, a legal practitioner. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
What a day it's been in Edo State. From the drama at the Assembly complex to the purported impeachment of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. What do you make of the happenings today?
Well, what happened today in Edo State is very sad and disgraceful. It is an act in totality that portrays the democratic process in bad lights. And that shouldn't be happening. Not in 1999, not in 2020. So it's so shameful and disgraceful. And that ought not to have happened.
Now, the impeachment of the Speaker was done, previously we heard it was at a private location. Later we heard it was at a particular estate. What are the legal implications of this?
Well, right from day one, we've had comedy of errors. It shouldn't have happened in this country that a governor of any state, by his own will and caprices, will prevent the total number of a 24-member House of Assembly from convening to freely elect their leadership. That's what happened. And that set the tone for all the comedies of errors that we've seen in Edo State since then. At a point...
Are you referring to the previous administration now?
No, this particular administration. At a point, I'm talking about the inauguration of the House.
Yes.
That took place, allegedly, in the State House in Edo State, not in the legislative chambers, in the night. That's the foundation of this ugliness that we're witnessing today. It shouldn't have occurred in any case. And so we then had a situation whereby for over a year now, 14 members of the House, 15 members of the House couldn't sit with their colleagues. That shouldn't have happened. And so once that tone was set, we then started having all sorts of things. The National Assembly wanted to intervene at the stage. They were encumbered by a court and political desperados who were saying that they were, improving on the rule of law, but it was patent that they were only improving on the rule of desperation. So we had those things happening before today. And so what we've seen today, therefore, is that we had a faction of 15, 16, 17 members meeting not in the House where they should meet, and where the Supreme Court has said in the case of Inokoju and Adeleke, involving Senator Ladoja, where legislators met in the Rovans Hotel at Ring Road in Ibadan to purportedly impeach the governor, that they should meet in the House. So they are not meeting in the House, and they could claim that they were forced to hibernate somewhere to go and meet, and then they claimed that they had impeached the Speaker. But the Speaker they claimed they had impeached was also elected by 6 or 7, 8 members, which is an oddity. And so my view in totality is that this shouldn't be happening.
Is there any legal consequence of that?
The legal consequences will become more manifest if there are litigations, by the parties, seeking the pronouncements of the court on this matter. But these issues largely have been settled in cases. I mentioned the case of Inokoju and Adeleke relating to the impeachment of a governor, Section 188. But even in those cases, and the other one, Diampi Long and Dari also reported in 2007, 8 Nigerian Weekly Law Report, Part 1036, all these issues are clear. When you're talking about quorum, it has to be the quorum of all the members. When you're talking about regulation of proceedings of the House, it has to be done fairly and properly, and so on and so forth. All these issues largely have been pronounced on by the courts, but politicians will not take heed.
Let's look at the Assembly complex. This is not the first time police will be deployed to the Assembly complex under controversial circumstances, if you like. What should be the role of law enforcement agencies in situations such as these? Well,
let me just quickly say that when politicians want to exercise raw and naked power, niceties and sanctity of the law become a miserable casualty. Politicians are too desperate in this climate. And law enforcement, properly directed, can intervene to save the day. For example, when the House was prevented from meeting, the law enforcement agency could provide security to ensure that all the members of the House meet. In 1962, we had a situation like that in Ibadan before the declaration of a state of emergency, when policemen, were deployed on the precincts without entering the chambers. That could have been done today. But what we had today was a melee. There was a purported renovation being carried out by the executive, apparently, dumping of sand, removing of roofs, and all that. I mean, scandalous. And this shouldn't be happening, obviously, to ensure that there was legislative paralysis. That shouldn't be happening. No executive branch of government should be powerful enough to pocket a legislature or disrupt legislative proceedings, because the principle of check and balances, oversights, and all that, and representation of the electorate, all these will be thrown to the dogs. And this ought not to happen in a democracy. For me, what is going on in Edo State is sad. It shouldn't be happening. And politicians, law enforcement, government at the federal level should work together, political parties, to ensure that this foretaste, this rehearsal for mayhem is nipped in the bud, so that the election that is coming on the 19th of September will not be, truncated.
Right. So if I may interject here, it appears that from reports that all this that is happening is a prelude to alleged attempts to impeach the governor. What do you think?
Governors have been impeached in the past. That's why I talked about desperation, and I choose my words carefully. Even at the risk of being impeached, no governor should be too powerful to interfere in proceedings of the House and subvert the House for fear of impeachment. But Abe Musa was impeached in this country. So what happened in Kaduna thereafter? So those who impeached him, where are they now? Did that save the Second Republic from collapsing in December 1983? Politicians should know that there is life after power. If I were the governor, even when I suspect that I may be impeached, I should trust the democratic process enough to allow the process to go on, so that if I'm unlawfully impeached, I can get secure remedy. In those states recently, the deputy governor was to be impeached. What happened? The judge in the state said, no, you can't do it because you don't follow the due process of law. Ladoja was impeached. What happened? The Supreme Court intervened and saved the day. We must trust the democratic process enough, particularly politicians who are the immediate beneficiary of this process, by occupying positions, spending money and all that, and presiding over our country. They must trust the process enough to allow it to function and work.
Thank you so much for your opinions and your time on the News at 10 tonight on this issue.
Yeah.